I, 34 female, have a complicated relationship with my mother. She had me when she was 17 and was addicted to various substances when I was growing up. She'd leave me with whoever would watch me for days on end, and I'd mostly raised myself. I left home at 16 and couch surfed with various friends until I was able to get my own place. At 25, I met my now husband, and we married 3 years later. His family's the polar opposite of mine and are incredible, so loving and warm. I honestly consider his parents mine and call them mom and dad. They're also quite well off, but I don't care about that. I mention it because it matters to the story. Last year, my mother reached out to me after a decade of not speaking to her, wanting to reconnect and introduce me to my little sister, who was a toddler. I was confused as I hadn't even known she'd been pregnant, but it seemed she'd been a change of life baby. I thought maybe she'd turned over a new leaf, and if not, I wanted to make sure the kid was okay. At first, it seemed like things had changed, and she was trying. This illusion lasted for the first few visits over 6 months. Then she broke down, told me she couldn't do this, and asked me to take my sister. My husband and I had a long talk about it. We'd been struggling with fertility and had been considering adoption anyway. We told her if we were doing this, we were doing it right, and we had his family's lawyer ensure that it was a legal adoption and airtight, which took several months. My in-laws adore her and consider her their granddaughter. They've even set up a trust fund for her. We have allowed my mother one supervised visit per month, so she's not totally cut off from my sister. However, during these visits, things went badly. She saw how she was dressed and the toys she had and realized they were expensive. She began to rip into us for hiding the fact we have money and how if we'd just given her money, she'd not given us my sister, as she could have taken care of her better. I told her that while we have some money, it's mostly my husband's parents' money, not ours, so she had no right to know about it. I also told her I wouldn't have given her money anyway, as I didn't trust her. She broke down, calling me a selfish witch who'd never considered how hard things were for her. I now feel some guilt. My husband has told me that if I want to make myself feel better, he'll give her money, but that seems like a bad idea, as she'd likely use it badly or blow through it before expecting more. Despite this, though, I do feel bad. Maybe I should have tried to help her more, now that my luck is better, or maybe I should have been honest with her. Am I the idiot for keeping this from her? If hubby wants to pay for something, it can be a treatment program for mom to get the help she needs, but you are most definitely not the idiot. Mom is trying to manipulate. If anything, she'll just start demanding more and more over a short time. Your mom doesn't want the money so she can take care of your sister. She just realized she lost her chance at a free meal ticket before she gave her up for adoption. Yep, mom realized she had the chance to use the little girl to squeeze money out of OP every now and then, and she lost that leverage with the adoption. Now she's trying the next best thing, which is guilt tripping, but holding the sister hostage would be so much more lucrative. She knows that, and she hates it. Yeah, tell him to flush $100 bills down the toilet every minute or so. It'll do more good than giving that money to your mother. Hubby's heart is in the right place, but he's clearly never dealt with an addict. Seems like a sweet guy. Very lucky to be born into a family with love and money. He should just enjoy his life and listen to your gut on this one. You are helping her. Raising your sister and keeping her safe and loved is the biggest gift you can give your mother. She's just too selfish to realize it. And please, 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 get into therapy. I'm not being mean. Let me reframe this for you. Your mother neglected you as a child, left you to fend for yourself at 16, has no contact for 10 years, then reaches out when she needs something from you? Time for a closed adoption and mommy dearest to figure her crap out or never be heard from again. Update. Am I the idiot for never telling my mother I married into money? I got some really good feedback from my post, which led to my husband and me staying up most of the night, discussing what we wanted to do. We finally reached a decision. It wasn't an easy one, but we have a child to think of now, and she has to come first. We blocked my mother on every social media, changed our phone numbers, and contacted the family lawyer to inform her that all visits had been stopped, after how she spoke to me in front of my sister. She has to get clean for at least a year with weekly tests if she wants to see my sister again. My mother can contact our family lawyer if she needs help with the test. Still, beyond that, she gets no help from us unless she wants to go to rehab, which we'll pay for directly to the rehab, not her. My husband's sister and I have also moved in with my in-laws for the time being, as my mother knows where we live. We will be looking for a new place, and my in-laws are aware of the situation and that we're cutting all contact for now. Honestly, my in-laws are delighted to have us stay with them. When we arrived, the guest room my sister is using for now had an army of Squishmallows on the bed. They are her current obsession, and my father-in-law makes sure to bring a new one each time he sees her. I always think she must have them all now, and each time I'm wrong. How he keeps track of what she has and doesn't have, I don't know, as he never buys doubles. We're settling in well. We're even planning a small holiday with just my husband's sister and me to get away from the stress we've been under. Nowhere abroad, as she still needs to get a passport, but we'll fix that soon, as we want to take her to Lapland for Christmas. All in all, we're doing all right. I admit I'm feeling very conflicted and guilty over this. Even though I know it's the right choice, it just doesn't make it easy. We fully intend to always be open to sister about this. I plan to put some pictures of our mother in our new place, even if I don't like them, so it's not a hidden secret from her. If she never calls me mom, that's all right, as long as she's happy, and I won't change how much I love her. I call her my sister in the post and in my general language to prevent slip-ups before she's ready. If I get used to calling her my daughter in other places, it could slip out in conversations and upset her. Thank you all so much for your advice. I, 40 male, have a son, 18, who was accepted to college. I was thrilled because I didn't have the opportunity. I dropped out of school to help my family of 8 siblings. Today I work in a managerial position without a diploma. When my son got accepted, I asked him to gather the necessary documents for his college registration. Since I'm not tech savvy, I asked an employee to help with the registration. My son kept making excuses about the documents, saying some could only be obtained online. On the last day of registration, he gave me the documents, but the college website wouldn't accept the login credentials. I tried calling him, but he didn't answer. When I got home, he confessed he hadn't been accepted and had lied to me out of fear. I felt deeply disappointed. I've been telling everyone about his acceptance and working overtime to buy him a car as a gift. I angrily told him he was a disappointment, which I regret. The next day, I wanted to apologize and discuss his future options, but he was out with his friends. I used our shared computer and found a conversation where he and his friends insulted me and called his friends his real family. He left the computer on for me to see. When he got home, I yelled at him and told him he had until the end of the year to get a job and move out. He cried, saying I was overreacting, but I stood firm. Now his grandparents are urging me to change my mind, but I feel justified. I've always tried to be a good father, and this betrayal hurts deeply. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Don't ask later, why doesn't my son talk to me anymore? This is the reason. If my child ever told me she was scared to tell me something, I'd be falling over myself to try to make it up to her, not kick her out. You betrayed the love your son has and had for you. Do better as a dad. Exactly. His son needs support, and OP instead is trying to take everything personally, like he's the main character. That's narcissism for you. Apologize to your son and invite him back. He may not take the offer, but it's the only chance you have of a better relationship in the future. Not sure about that here. Dad is embarrassed because he went public with a college acceptance, bragging as most parents do, and now must retract. Remember, he didn't get to go to college. He says he helped his parents financially right after he finished school. I don't know what happened, but if I put myself in Dad's shoes, I'd be embarrassed, frustrated, and wondering why my family never gets a break, given all that I've sacrificed. People don't just say, I consider my friends my real family, unless their actual family has given them a strong, compelling, and ongoing reason to feel that way. It's why I didn't talk to my father for a decade after I left high school. You don't say it, but I suspect that his entire life, he's been receiving extreme pressure from you with very little sympathy for the fact that the environment he's growing up in is completely different. economically than the one you grew up in. If you ever want to fix things, you need to realize that 100% of this is caused by the way you treated him and the way you made him feel. And you need to be open and willing to change that. I very well could be wrong, and maybe I deserved it, but I can't be sure. I will include both sides of the argument. She contributes to the household despite not working, so I don't want to hear comments about finances. She has plenty of money saved from when she was working before giving birth. So for Mother's Day, I had to work. My wife was at home with all 4 of our children all day. Our kids are a young teen, 2 tweens, and an infant. I've been working for 2 weeks straight at that point and hadn't gotten the opportunity to grab her anything for Mother's Day. So after I got out of work, I went shopping. I got home at 8 p.m. Therefore, her Mother's Day sucked. All she wanted for Mother's Day was alone time where she wasn't needed or wanted at all day. She wanted to relax without being bothered. And I totally get it. But I had to work. I got out of work at 6:30 p.m. She absolutely appreciated the gift I had gotten, something she said she had wanted in passing for a few months. But she said that she was bothered because I could have gotten that gift any other day and that her one request had been neglected. She wasn't super upset, but unfortunately, she asked for a back rub as a kind of, you can make it up by doing X type of situation. So I started rubbing her back and fell asleep darn near immediately because I was just exhausted from work and all else. So I kind of botched her day. Fast forward to Father's Day yesterday. I had to work, but only until noon. She asked me what I wanted for dinner that night, but I didn't have a preference. She asked what I wanted to do for Father's Day and suggested things like bringing the kids fishing or swimming. Honestly, I didn't want to. All I wanted to do was relax and work on my truck uninterrupted. As soon as I said this, she said, "No, you can hang out with the kids for Father's Day." I asked her, why? It's Father's Day after all. Shouldn't I get what I want? I admittedly wasn't making the connection between Mother's Day and Father's Day. She said, "Why should you get a stress-free, kid-free, relaxing day of no interruptions when you couldn't even give me a sliver of that on Mother's Day when I asked for it?" Again, you can hang out with the kids for Father's Day. She then turned and walked away, leaving the kids with me. Am I wrong for being upset about it? My wife said I have zero ground to stand on because for the past several Mother's Days and birthdays of hers, I've worked, and she hasn't been able to do anything that she's wanted to do. Her most recent employer gives all moms Mother's Day off and all dads Father's Day off, as well as all birthdays. So she's always had the day off, but I never have those days off. So it's difficult to do anything for her those days. For the past several Mother's Days and birthdays of hers, I've worked, and she hasn't been able to do anything that she's wanted to do. Holy crap, dude. Get it together. You are the idiot. Just because you can't give her a day off on Mother's Day or her birthday doesn't mean you can't give her a day off. Pick a different day. Find someone to watch the kids. Get her a hotel room and let her have 24 hours away from the house. Sorry, babe, I work Mother's Day, so you don't have the day off. You can have the next day off since I'm off that day, but that's my day off, not your day off. Yep, she's wanted one day to herself for years, and he works all these hours but gives her no spending money? Does she have to eat away at whatever savings she had pre-kids? If I was her, I'd leave, and I'd leave him with the kids. I had to go back and read again. I didn't even see this the first time. What a piece of crap. She has to eat into her savings to get by while he's working all these hours, unless he wants time off for Father's Day. She never gets so much as an hour to herself, despite having all the parenting and probably household responsibilities, including making him a special meal for Father's Day, even though he ignores her Mother's Day and birthdays, and he has the nerve to complain. Wow, just wow. Not a good look, OP. My brother Nick, 35, is married to Rachel, 34, female, and a stepdad to her son Colton, tween. Rachel and her ex split custody of Colton, so he's at their house 50% of the time, and the other 50% he's with his dad's family. Something that is relevant is Nick does not play an active parenting role in Colton's life. He's basically the backup, the fun uncle figure, and parenting's only between Rachel and her ex. Nick is not allowed to discipline Colton or handle parenting matters, so I've been dealing with Rachel alone on this issue. I have 2 boys. My oldest is a preteen, and my youngest is a preschooler. Because my oldest and Colton are so close in age, Rachel wanted them to spend as much time together as possible, and she asked if we could take Colton after school in an informal agreement. We had agreed he could come to my house until 5 p.m., but when it came to practice, he would be here until 7 p.m. or later, and Rachel never picked Colton up before then, even if I called. Colton was taught that if you're in a family member's home, you can take what you like and don't have to ask. So while he was in my home, he ate and drank so much of our stuff. One day before, he drank an entire 6-pack of Sprite that he went outside to get, a big shared bag of Doritos, 3 chocolate bars, and a bag of gummy candies, and cookies I had left out of the way for later. I spoke to him and said he should ask before taking it in the future. He told me he didn't need to ask, and his mom said he should eat when he wanted to. I talked to Rachel about this, and she scolded me for bringing it to Colton at all. She said if it's in my house, he should be able to eat and drink as much of it as he likes. There was also the added fact that he was here for dinner time. I couldn't just let him sit there day after day and watch us eat, so I started making enough for him too. Still, he'd then take things he liked off my son's plates, and he'd leave what he didn't like, veggies and meats usually, unless nuggets. Again, this was a conflict with Rachel because I told Colton not to do it and tried to make him apologize. Colton told Rachel about it, and she was angry at me for trying to discipline her son. I tried for a few weeks, but it wasn't working, so I pulled the plug on him being here. Now I say no, and I've told her he can't spend time at my house anymore. Rachel told me if he was my real nephew, I wouldn't dismiss Colton so quickly. She also told me I'm taking my issues with her out on him, and he's sad that he can't spend time with his bestie cousin anymore. Am I the idiot? Edit. She paid nothing for the time he was here. She never offered anything for it. Not the idiot. And wow, Rachel's a freeloader. Have you gone to her house and emptied her fridge, freezer, and pantry yet? Once a week, this kid is with his dad. Since you're family, you don't have to ask and can take whatever you want, right? Or at a family event, wait until she has a plate of food and just take it off her, because family, right? She is ridiculously entitled and refusing to parent her ridiculously entitled child. He's far too old to be acting that way. Just how much was he paying? Just how much was she paying for you? Just how much was she paying you for the after-school childcare? How much extra for the additional 2 hours a day that she was late picking up her child? Yeah, absolutely not. She's so far out of bounds that the boundary isn't even within sight. I did occasional nibbling city for my sister so she could go to medical appointments, etc., which was fine. That's family helping family. At a bare minimum, she should be making you whole on what her glutton of a child was stealing from you. And the second you told him to stop taking your food and drinks, he was stealing. What is he going to start taking next, left unchecked? A video game your child gets that he wants? Or any other toy? This has nothing to do with family or any of those other things people try to use to excuse rude, unfair, and entitled behavior. You can't safely supervise and guide a child who you have no authority over, so he can't be in your custody without being supervised by a responsible adult. Sadly, it appears that Colton doesn't have anyone in that role. Poor kid.